The Russian army launched 2 air-launched missiles and nearly 100 UAVs at Ukraine last night. 81 drones were shot down in the north, south, and east of the country. In addition to attack drones, the enemy also used banderol loitering munitions. It's like an intermediate link between a regular Shahhed and a cruise missile. The occupiers also tried to exhaust our air defense with Paradilla-type decoy drones. They don't carry explosives. Their goal is to distract the air defense systems. There were confirmed hits from a missile and 9 attack drones at 9 locations, and 1 more missile failed to reach its target. The death toll in Odesa region has risen to 10 as a result of the strike on a civilian vessel. Among them was a Ukrainian pilot. The search and rescue operation lasted all night. On Sunday, the occupiers struck the Turkish cargo ship Golden Leo, sailing under the flag of Guinea-Bissau with 3 cruise missiles. The vessel, carrying corn, was just leaving a Ukrainian port. A fire broke out. There were 17 crew members on board, citizens of Syria and India, as well as a Ukrainian pilot. 8 of the injured were evacuated to the hospital. In the morning, after another missile attack, infrastructure in the city was damaged. The Russians struck a postal terminal in the suburbs of Kharkiv with a banderol missile system. There are 4 victims and 20 injured there. In the city itself, an enemy drone hit a gas station in the Shevchenkivsky district. A woman was injured. In Izium, after a drone hit a 5-story building, 23 civilians were injured. Among them is a 1-year-old child. There are also injured people in Kupiansk, Sinkove, and Kozychilipan. And in Zlatopilya, the enemy attacked a critical infrastructure facility. 1,000 families were left without electricity. Last night, Pavlograd in the Dnipropetrovsk region was under attack. The city was hit by drones. A market, stores, and a logistics company were damaged. The Kryvyi Rih district is also increasingly targeted by FPV drones. This time, the enemy hit a car on the highway in the Hershivska community. In Nikopol, private homes and cars were damaged. 2 people were killed and 5 wounded in Kramatorsk Donetsk region. The Russians destroyed 7 apartment buildings. There were hits on an auto parts store and a bank branch. 2 people were killed and 1 wounded in Slavyansk as a result of the strikes. The enemy destroyed an administrative building, a ceramics factory, 10 private homes, and an apartment building. 4 people were injured in Jurskivka, 2 in Stepanivka, and 2 more in Malotarnivka. In Belenka, the Russians destroyed 10 houses and also wounded a person. Zaporizhzhia is recovering after a terrible weekend. The day before, the Russians once again dropped aerial bombs on the city. One of them struck an apartment building right in the center of Zaporizhzhia. This strike took the lives of 3 city residents. Another 41 people were injured. Among the injured were 6 children. Rescuers searched for residents under the rubble until morning, including an 11-year-old girl. The child was found with no signs of life.
2 cab bombs hit directly in the city of Zaporizhzhia. At the moment, it is known that 4 locations were affected by the cave strikes, including 2 residential buildings.
Thank God we weren't home this time either. This is already the 3rd time in this place. On January 1st of this year, a Shahhed drone hit our intersection. And now, we went out for a walk with the kids. Usually we go out a bit later, but today we decided to leave earlier and stop by the store. And literally, there was only about 10 minutes between us and what happened.
Evacuation under drone attacks from the frontline villages of the Nikopol district in the Dnipropetrovsk region. The police managed to evacuate 2 large families as well as elderly people. The occupiers constantly shelled this area from the other side of the Kakhovka reservoir, using the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant as cover. From the village of Tarasivka, the police unit White Angels evacuated a mother with 4 children. The youngest daughter is 5 years old. The police had to return later for the father, who had stayed behind to guard their belongings in order to evacuate the man and his cat to safer areas. They also evacuated their elderly neighbor.
Come on, come on. Documents, that's the most important thing. Hurry up, get in the car, the car. The child is small.
A nighttime fire show in the Moscow suburbs. In Podolsk, Russia, an oil depot is on fire after a drone attack. And in the village of Kolodino, there's one of the largest and oldest distribution centers of the Wild Berries Company. A significant portion of the operations of Russia's largest marketplace passes through this logistics hub. Despite official statements about successfully repelling the attack, local residents are sharing footage of the fire at the logistics complex on social media. There's also a bit of burning going on at the warehouse of the Southern Gates Industrial Complex in Domodedovo. When numerous reports of explosions and fires in the Moscow region appeared online, Russian authorities announced temporary restrictions at Moscow airports. At the same time, the mayor of Moscow is reassuring residents that most of the drones were neutralized while still far from the city. In addition to the Moscow region, air raid alerts were also declared in 10 other regions of the European part of Russia. Residents of the occupying country are watching with excitement as everything burns around them and are happily sharing videos they filmed on social media. They even woke me up again with some bullshit, damn it. So I opened the window and it turns out half of Podolsk is being bombed.
I've got the best view. It's really intense over there right now.
Alushta in temporarily occupied Crimea is without power. Last night, a series of explosions went off there and a fire broke out at the electrical substation in the village of Pravitne. This is a key facility of the company Crimea. The disabling of this hub led to a blackout throughout the entire Alushta region. It was also loud in Yalta, Feodosia, Kerch, and in the area of the Balaklava thermal power plant. Because of the nighttime attack, the occupation authorities temporarily closed traffic on the bridge across the Kerch Strait. U.S. President Donald Trump is demanding that the bill on sanctions against Russia also include provisions regarding Iran. To this end, he once again convened Congress. In a post on Truth Social, he claimed that this was exactly what the late Senator Lindsey Graham, co-author of this bipartisan bill, wanted. At the same time, Trump signaled that he is ready to sign the document. The Senate is calling for the document to be considered quickly without any additional changes. According to media reports, it already has the support of more than 60 senators. By the way, the bill on sanctions against Russia has been somewhat weakened compared to the original version. In particular, the initial proposals for punitive tariffs on countries importing Russian energy resources have been softened. While at first they proposed imposing 500% tariffs on everyone, now the maximum is 100% for the top 5 importers. They're also proposing exceptions for countries that import less than 15% of Russian natural gas exports and have started reducing their purchases. The draft also mentions the shadow fleet, financial institutions, and state energy projects of the aggressor country. And the updated version also includes provisions that allow Trump to suspend the sanctions if he decides they do not serve the national interests of the United States. For the 9th night in a row, the U.S. has been striking Iran. Central Command noted on social media platform X that the strikes will continue to weaken Iran's military capabilities, which it uses to attack commercial vessels and civilian sailors passing through the Strait of Hormuz. The strikes targeted Iranian military command centers, air defense and coastal surveillance facilities, naval assets, missile and drone launch sites, as well as communication networks. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump believes that America has achieved the main objectives of the operation against Iran. However, in the coming days, the strikes will continue and even intensify in order to force Iran to return the negotiations. In addition, it has become known that at least 2 American servicemen were killed in Jordan and another's missing after Iran strikes on a facility in Jordan. At the same time, Iran stated that American forces struck an unfinished nuclear power plant in Darkovin and promised to respond appropriately. Spain defeated Argentina in the World Cup final with a score of 1-0. The final match was played at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Thus, Spain wins the World Cup for the 2nd time in its history. The silver medalists of the 2026 World Cup were the Argentinians, while England took the bronze. After the match, fans of the national team celebrated the victory loudly in the Spanish capital. Red flares lit up the sky there. But the Argentinians were very upset about the loss, even though President Javier Milei announced that his government would declare a national holiday in honor of the team's 2nd-place finish. In Buenos Aires, after their team's defeat, Argentina's national team fans gathered near the obelisk and seriously angered the police with their actions. Groups of people started throwing stones and bottles at them. The clashes led to the closure of major roads in the area. The authorities have not confirmed any injuries or arrests.